Hi, my name is Brian Price. I'm the school administration manager at Hayes Elementary in Davenport, Iowa, and this is Michelle Zindel, a first grade teacher at Hayes. And Michelle has agreed to help me work through the evaluation and the videos for this project. So thanks so much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
So I'd like to start off with just reviewing some of the things that we learned from the post-observation conference and the observation that I did in your classroom. And then I've got some questions for you as we move through, and the goal then is to, at the end of our conference here, is to see the direction that you're going to take for your professional development plan for next year.
Okay.
So you are currently in year 2 of your evaluation cycle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so next year will be your evaluation, and we'll use this then as a way to direct your professional growth into next year for that evaluation. So first off, I'd just like to summarize some of the things that we saw from the observation and the post-observation conference, and then just some of the strengths that I saw and the things that went really well. You do a fantastic job of collecting formative assessment data from student work and exit slips and figuring out who's mastered a lesson and who needs extra help the next day or reteaching. You did a fantastic job of circulating through the class during your lesson in all parts of it, the I do, we do, you do, at the carpet and whatnot, helping students, answering questions, and also assisting with behavior management. You also give students many opportunities to respond and to participate in class, using the smart board, offering up answers, and then the amount of praise and encouragement used with students is fantastic also. So with that being said, what goals do you have for professional development growth?
I just received my master's, and I do plan on taking more classes to be better, hopefully, at challenging my higher students in my room. I think I do okay with meeting the on-level kids, and I really focus on those lower kids in intervention. We have tier 2, tier 3, so I really get to them, but I want to be better at challenging the higher level kids. We have the math games and things, but even those are pretty much on level still. They're not very high and challenging, so I would like to be better at challenging those higher students. And then with my professional growth plan, I focused on the behavior in my room, so I want to keep with that and keep improving behavior in the classroom.
Excellent. So in our discussions from the post-observation conference, you mentioned meeting the needs of those higher level kids that get done so much faster. So how do you think you're doing at meeting those needs?
I think I'm doing okay, but I think I need to be better at meeting the higher kids. I pull those tier 2 and tier 3 kids during our math intervention time, and we have the reteaching pages, and the website has the reteaching video, so we go through that again and do example problems. And our book does give us an extension, so I need to be better at doing that extension every day during that intervention time with the higher kids, because a lot of times we'll just have them do ST math while we're doing our group, so I need to be better at taking that extension game and having the higher kids do that.
That's awesome. So one of the things that we did in our BSET this past year was to read a book about the growth mindset, and our team came up with some fantastic ideas for how to implement that in the classroom, and just teaching kids about how the brain functions, how it grows, how it improves, and that might be some really awesome things to look at for all of your kids, not only the lower kids to improve their skills, but also your higher kids, so they know that they need to be challenged as well, and that their brain can grow and improve just like anyone else. So those are some things I'll share with you as we go along.
Perfect.
So, you mentioned that your goal on your current professional development plan deals in the area of behavior. Do you think that's still relevant, or how do you feel about moving to something more academic?
I could definitely move on from the behavior. I think we have the procedures set with the Boys Town skill. They know the steps. I mean, some of them can't even read the poster. They know the steps by heart, what they should do for each life skill. So I think we can definitely move on to something academic from here.
That's excellent. So we had talked before about our district goal of 80% of our students achieving at grade level on the FAST screeners in reading and math. And that's a 5-year goal. We don't expect you to get to 80% this year, but our year-over-year goal, I believe, is right around 6% for first grade. So how do you feel about moving in that direction with your goal?
That would be perfect.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable goal for the year. I think we can definitely achieve that.
Very nice. So here's just another question for you. Just kind of this is more of a reflective question. So how do you feel like you're doing meeting the needs of all the kids in your room from the highest to the lowest?
I'm doing okay, I feel, with the lowest and the middle, but I need to work more on meeting the higher needs because I know they get it and I know they understand it, so I need to make sure I'm challenging them rather than saying, oh, you got it, good job, we'll move on to the next thing, but we need to challenge them on that specific skill. And like I mentioned before, our math book does have extensions each lesson, so I could pull out those different games and workbook pages and have them work with the partner and just try it, see if they're challenged with those.
Have you met with Becky Vincent, our math coach, at all about any of those
I
extension
haven't.
activities?
She gave me some things to do on the tablet, but I would like to try other things besides just websites, and I don't want them to always be on the technology because they're already on it for SD Math and Lexia. So I'd like to. She did give me the extension websites for them to go to.
That's cool.
But I would like to have some maybe hand games they can play, actual without being on the tablet for too long.
Sure. And we can talk to our lead teachers too and see if maybe there's some first grade teachers across the district that are doing some cool things and maybe get some ideas that way too.
For them, yeah.
Yeah, no sense of reinventing the wheel if people come up with some
We
awesome
did
things.
watch one teacher at, I want to say Jackson, and she does centers for her math, so she teaches the same lesson, but to all three of her groups. And I did try that before our math test for our review. So one group did the review with me, one group did ST Math, and one group played a game, and then we rotated. And that worked really well because you had a small group to teach the lesson. You have to teach it 3 times, but it goes faster when you have a small group, and they're zoned in on you, focused, paying attention. So I thought about maybe trying that next year too. With maybe the higher group could work with me first because it would go quicker with the lesson, and then they could go on to the extension. Whereas then I would have my lowest kids at the end for the longest period of time, and then they could be on ST Math for a short period of time, and then I could pull them for my longest part of the lesson. So I thought about maybe trying that.
Are any of the other teachers in your CTT group using that type of a system, or?
They haven't yet, but we had discussed it when we went and saw the teacher at Jackson, and we really liked it. And she, before she even started her lesson, she pulled the kids from the day before who didn't meet their exit slip and reviewed before starting the lesson what they learned the day before. So I thought that was cool too. So we could try to implement that next year too.
It'd be interesting to see how the data goes on your CTT cycles if you do all move to that model. That's fantastic. We talked a little bit before about using the growth mindset in the classroom. Are there some things that intrigue you about using the growth mindset?
I read the growth mindset book. I don't know if it's the same one, but it probably is, a couple of years ago, and I thought it was just interesting because like some of the high kids think, oh, I'm really smart, I know everything, I don't need to know anymore, you know what I mean? And some of the lower kids think, I can't do it, and they don't even try because they just don't even have any confidence in themselves to even try it because they just know they're not going to do very well, or they think they might not do very well. And so I thought the growth mindset was good for everybody to have, because then everybody knows that they can move forward and do better no matter where they are, even if they're behind or ahead. You can always do better. And
do your kids keep like a data notebook of where they're at and showing them their growth? They do, yeah. For their math topic tests, they have ice cream scoops for meets, beginning and progressing. So they color the bottom scoop if they were in the beginning, middle scoop if they're progressing, and then the top scoop if they met the test. Well, they all want to color the top scoop. Absolutely.
So they try really hard, and I do give homework passes if they get a perfect score. So everybody tries their best to get to the top. And I've seen huge improvement after I started doing that with the ice cream scoops too. They all want to color the top. So I honestly don't have hardly any kids that don't pass the test because they all want to. Such a simple little thing, but the visual of it makes a big impact for the kids. So we do the high frequency words too. We have all of them on the page. You get to color them when they know them, so they see which ones they need to practice and which ones they know. And then with even their colors for behavior, we put those in every day, so they see, wow, I have a lot of greens, a lot of blues, but I don't have any yellows, so that's awesome. So they see that.
That
every day.
individual student data collection is powerful, even for them to see too, so that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, in order to achieve your goal, I put down some things here for us to just the data to collect, the evidence that we can use to show how things are going. So, continue collecting the formative assessment data, and also the data you collect during your CTT cycles in reading and math. That'll be helpful to you as well.
Okay.
And then just the timelines to achieve those goals. You have your weekly CTT meetings that you'll be going to, using your formative assessment data like you do to drive instruction each day, and then also getting with your CTT team and deciding the strategies that you're going to, the standards that you're going to be focusing on. So that'll be super helpful as well. And then using those fast assessments to see are we meeting that year-over-year goal to get to that 80%. So that's it's pretty steep goal to get to, but
It is, but I think they can do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just have one final question for you. Moving forward, then, what do you think are the strategies that are going to work best for you to meet kids at all levels?
At all levels.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think doing groups for math will definitely help,
Mm-hmm.
because then they'll be with their peers that are on their level, and I think that will be good because I won't have to spend 45 minutes
Sure.
teaching the lesson if this group can get it in 10 minutes, and then they can move on to their next activity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be huge to see if that will work, and then I can spend the 20 or 30 minutes with those kids that are really struggling to get that one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
help instead of being in a huge class, because I know I have some kids that just can't pay attention in a big group,
Sure.
so they're the ones that aren't getting it, and then they're the ones that are
Absolutely.
sitting there looking at the ceiling while I'm teaching the lesson. So I think that will help them if we're at a table, like
Mhm.
this. So hey, you're not paying attention. I can.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that will be the best strategy for our math to improve. And then definitely talking to Becky, she can come in work maybe with the higher kids, because she did come in and teach my class the
Mhm.
games for the centers,
Uh-huh.
and they know those now and they can go use those. So she would be definitely a huge help to
Well, that's fantastic.
differentiate.
Fantastic. That's a great plan. So I'll get the individual development plan typed up for you, and then you'll review it and sign off on it, and then that'll be the what we use for next year going into your evaluation year. So
Okay.
thanks so much. This was a great conversation, and it's always awesome to work with great teachers. So thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Michelle.
Thank you.